Yes, hi student. In this video lecture, we are going to study shading algorithm. First of all, what is meant by shading? So when we considering the shading means we adjusting the intensity to the point or with respect to point by depending upon the object of the surface. That means when we considering the shading, by various way we can apply the intensity model to the surface shading, right? And when we considering the surface shading, it's depend upon the object surface and the some application required. So when we considering shading, that means we just the shading can be applied on the scene or the image with respect to object surface. Object surface. So when we considering in a scene or image, each image having the different polygons. Each polygon can be rendered with a single intensity or by using the interpolation scheme. The intensity can be obtained at each point with respect to the surface, right? That means here we can obtain the intensity with the surface. So when we are considering the shading can be implements or can be works by using the different methods or the different algorithm. And this algorithm, the different algorithm is first one Gould algorithm or Gould shading algorithm. Second, Phong shading. And third one is the half tone shading. In that we see one by one. First one is the ground shading. Ground shading, right? So when we are considering the ground shading, it is the intensity interpolation method. Intensity interpolation method, right? Here we considering the image or scene, we considering the different surfaces with respect to polygons by the rendering, or when we considering the polygon rendering or polygon surface rendering by linear interpolating intensity value. That means here we considering the each polygon having specific linearly interpolating intensity values, right? So when we are considering the working of method, this shading algorithm, right? This method removes the intensity discontinuities between the adjacent plane of surface representation by intensity value over the each plane, right? That means here we works with the polygon. every polygon having the surface, right? That means here we considering the boundaries, and we just matched the plane boundaries with respect to intensity values. So when we considering this algorithm performing the different step. Step 1, determine the average unit normal vector at each polygon vertex, right? Determine the average unit normal vector at each polygon vertex. That means here we considering the image like this one. This is the UI image, right? Right? This image, here we considering the point where we want to find out the intensity, and right, this is the N, this is the point V. So here we considering these are the different polygons, and these different polygons having the specific normal. For example, this is N1, this is N2, this is N3, this is N4, and this is N5. So when we consider determine the average unit normal vector, right? Here we considering the normal vector at point V, like n is equal to n1 plus n2 plus n3 plus n4 plus n5, right? Where this n is divided by 5 because we finding the average value of this n. Second, step 2, apply elimination method at each vertex to calculate vertex intensity. To calculate the vertex intensity, or by using these two different steps, we performing this ground shading. So considering this ground shading with respect to one example, here these are the two steps. Then next, step 3 for this algorithm, linearly interpolate that vertex intensities over the surface of polygon. Right? So by using 3 different steps, we performing this algorithm, right? So when we considering algorithm, when we implementing this algorithm with respect to intensity at the interpolation, we considering the simple scan line, and by using the scan line, we find out the intensity of different point. For example, we considering the simple example with respect to this algorithm. Here we considering this is the y-axis, this is the x-axis, and here we considering the surface like A, B, C, and this is your scan line, right? And here we considering the point P, point Q, and point R, right? So by using this algorithm, we will find out the intensity of point P, point R and point Q. So when we considering the scan line, this scan line intersected the edges A, B, right, at point P. Right, first we find the intensity at point P, then R and then Q. So when we consider to find intensity at P, right, we are interpolating the intensity between the point A and B, right, between the point A and B. If we let's consider at point A intensity is IA and B intensity is IB. Now the intensity at point P, which is called as IP, and we will be calculated as, right, we find out the intensity of this point P in between A and B. It can be calculated as IP, it is the intensity of a point P, is equal to YP minus YB, YA minus YB into IA plus YA minus YP divided by YA minus YB. Similarly, when we finding the intensity at point R, right? So when we considering the R is in between A and C, same way, YR minus YC, right, and YA minus YC into IA plus YA minus YR divided by YA minus YC. When we considering this y considering the coordinate with the intensity with respect to y, right? So now we find the intensity of Q, and Q in between P and R, right? And here we consider X. So therefore IQ is equal to XR minus XQ and XR minus XP plus XQ minus XP divided by XR minus XP. And here this process can be used to find the intensity with respect to this and this. Because first we finding the intensity P, because we know the intensity at A, intensity at B. Same way and then we finding the intensity with respect to R, because we know the intensity of C and intensity of A. Then when we finding the if you know these 2 point intensity, we can find intensity of this point Q. So this process can be repeated, or this process is repeated for each scan line through the different polygon. So this way we can study the shading algorithm or crowd shading algorithm. Thank you.